The NFL Combine was this weekend, and two Sun Devils were extremely impressive in how they looked. Plus, ASU plays Kansas tonight. Do we have a shot?
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Sun Devils, your daily Arizona State Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Phil Mulford. Parker is right over there. And thank you so much for joining us here today, every day. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning. Parker and I are massive ASU Sun Devil fans. And with the NFL Combine happening this weekend, plus a game a little bit later on this evening, there's a lot to talk about today. So Parker, I had thought, based on the news that came out last week, that Jordan Tyson was not going to be playing or not going to be taking stats, showing up, doing anything in the Combine. Turns out, wasn't quite true. He just issued all the on-the-field stuff, but that gave him plenty of time to put up incredible numbers on the bench.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we first released that episode, it was hot press that like the tweeted came out a couple of seconds ago, and we were like, oh, we got to get it out. And thankfully, for once, thankfully we were wrong. We got to see Jordan Tyson in action. So it was good to see him. And as you said, the bench press, I mean, he showed off how much raw skill he has, and not just raw skill, but raw talent as well, because not only have we seen the highlight reels of what he's able to do on a football field, but now we get to see what he's able to do with the intangibles that he has. I mean, see what he has strength-wise, see what he has skill-wise, the finesse moves, the IQs. But it's good. It's good to see him there. It's a shame we don't get to see the full display of his skills because he is sitting out certain events. But it is still good to see him there at the Combine with the best.
Parker, the skills of picking up something heavy and putting it up 27 times. We should point out, by the way, so the way the Combine works, if you're not following super closely, a lot of these drills, they say, you're going to run, we're going to time how long it takes you to go a 40-yard dash, do some cone drills. The bench press is a little bit different in that it's not how much weight can you put up. What is your personal max? It is, there is 235 pounds on this bar, 2 plates on each side. The bar is 45 pounds. How many times can you put that up before you fall down, before you fail? And I would like to point out here, Parker, I keep myself in relatively good shape. I work out consistently.
Good on you.
235 is, that's a little bit beyond my 1 rep max. That's more than I can necessarily do. Yeah. And he's putting it up, was it 26, 27 times, one away from just the overall Combine record. That is kind of insane. And when you will contextualize it against normal mortals.
It is. And especially when you look at the wide receivers that we know are popularized for their strength. I mean, you look at DK Metcalf, look at how his upper body, how strong he is. You look at the other ones across the history. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, you saw his biceps, how strong he is as well, another Arizona legend. But Jordan Tyson, he's not known for having looking like a strong physical wide receiver, but it's showing you the underlying strength that he has and how much of an all-around prospect he is. Because honestly, I wasn't pegging him as like a physical, tough wide receiver on paper. I know he's a physical, tough wide receiver, seeing him in practice, seeing him in the game, seeing how the way Hines Ward talks about him in practice. But from an outside perspective, I wouldn't peg him as that. I would peg him as a finesse wide receiver that can get it done, skill-wise, speedy, can put him anywhere on the field. But no, he displayed that he can move a person. And he can move them a long ways.
And you were talking about this the other day, the Hines Ward school of you got to block to get the rock.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking, and again, it was 27 reps is the overall record set a couple of years ago. Tyson had 26. Actually, there was one other wide receiver that also got 26 reps. So apparently we're just a strong wide receiver class. But you're able to put that amount of weight up. That is strength. That means you can block someone down the field. And not only does that mean, oh, great, you're going to be really useful in a couple offenses, even when the ball's not going to you. It means that when you need to build separation, when there's a corner on you downfield and you need to shove off without looking like you're shoving off, because we all know that's how that works. You got to avoid the foul. That's another toolbox. That's another wrench in your toolbox, right? You're like, look at me. I got. There we go. Look at me. I'm strong. It's good.
Yeah. It is something to kind of boast about. It's a shame that I feel like in recent years, the combine has gotten lesser and lesser, especially as big talents like Fernando Mendoza and to some extent Jordan Tyson. When you sit out certain events, it's kind of become less of as big of a deal and more like, all right, let's see how these underrated guys, more of the sleepers, and that's really where it's came in. And that's what we've seen for Max Iheanachor, who we'll talk about later, where these guys where there's a lot of unknown about them, but we get to see them now hit the combine, and you're just like, oh my gosh, ASU was hiding this guy?
Okay.
He's a freak.
I get that you're talking about Max, but I'm like, dude, no one thinks that ASU is hiding Jordan Tyson. He's been the number. You watch any game this year, they're like, well, Jordan Tyson is the best wide receiver in college football.
You see a headline and it's Jordan Tyson versus the Red Raiders, and I'm just like, no. There's a whole team there. ASU's playing Texas Tech.
In fairness, we didn't have an O-line for that game, so
true.
Sam Levitt is just like running around in a wing and a prayer, trying to get the ball to Tyson as much as possible. We talked about this the other day, though. Yeah, on the one hand, it's a little sad the combine is not as prestigious as it once was. It's more of a tool for someone who might go underscouted to go up there a little bit. Although, even as I say that, I want to say that Skateboo had pretty decent combine results and still went pretty deep in the draft. So how much does it matter? But, it makes sense for these top level players. Why would I go and spend this time, do the 40-yard dash? What if I pull a hammy? It's the same idea as the bowl games, same idea as the Senior Bowl. Great opportunity if you think you're going to go under recruited or you're really competitive, you're playing the playoffs or something. But if you're already pretty much secured a first round draft pick, why would you risk doing anything that has the slimmest chance of hurting that?
Yeah, I'm not faulting the players at all. I'm more so just venting because I'm bummed that we don't get to see the best players out on the field. But it just used to be such a bigger event, as we're saying. But from a safety standpoint, I totally get it. But at the same time, I wish there was like a happy medium.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wish the first round rated players could participate in some of the events, or even more so than they are now. Like less of the, I won't get injured doing this, like bench press, I don't want to see Fernando Mendoza do that. I don't want to see some of the quarterbacks that are sitting out do that. It's just like, if you're going to get injured doing a bench press, you're going to get injured playing in the NFL. I mean, you're going to take a harder hit than it is pushing up that bar.
But importantly here, how much weight can Fernando Mendoza squat? Right. We only do the bench. Everything else is dynamic drills. There are more Olympic lifts, Parker, deadlift, squat, front. Yeah. Those are also, it's always fun. Like in the offseason, you see the players and you see the clips on Instagram and you see the absolute insane numbers that, especially some of these linemen, offensive, defensive linemen are putting up. Like, I want to see that in combine. All right. Yeah. It's really cool that I think the number one, I had this up a second ago. The number one overall bench press guy, I think, put up like 37 reps. Defensive tackle, like that's really cool.
Yeah,
show me some more of those. There's more than just the bench, man.
Yeah, I'll never forget one of my friends who's not as football inclined as the rest of us was just like, the combine was up on a TV. We're at like a Buffalo Wild Wings or something, and they were just like, why do they need to see these large men run? I mean, shouldn't like offensive linemen, they just stay put anyways? And I was like, you don't get it.
Okay,
it's fun.
First of all, it's fun, yes. Not offensive linemen, but defensive linemen. Shout out to the 100-yard fumble recovery pick six from the Pittsburgh Steelers about 10 years ago. Those very large men, yes, they're going to get oxygen in the sidelines afterwards, but they need to be able to move because who knows? It might be the Super Bowl, and you might pick up a ball on the 1-yard line, and you might need to take it to the house. It's very important that these teams know that their linemen can do that.
Yeah, and it's a good test of like overall physical health, endurance, speed. I mean, how fast you can run also tells how good you take care of your body. So it's a good what's it called, a litmus test, a good benchmark of to
Bench
see where
press.
everybody else is. Yeah, bench press. There we go.
But anyway, talking about people with impressive numbers, we've been talking about him for a little bit, but Max Iheanachor, extremely impressive in the combine. And we're going to be talking about that in just a second.
This episode of Locked On Sun Devils is brought to you by Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house, it's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live, all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can take part in the action live. In a market powered by people, you're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the US. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission, merchant, and swap firm.
And if you've been joining us for every single day as we continue to relaunch Locked On Sun Devils, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on this journey. But also, make sure to go check out lockedonsundevils.supercast.com so you can get access to a Discord, a little bit more news maybe, get to pick the brain of Parker and I. And eventually, once we start getting some more people on this platform again, we're going to try to do a Friday mailbag, and you're going to get first priority. So you got questions about the program, make sure you go join. You'll get my opinion, Parker's opinion. We're probably wrong. that is what it is. I can tell you Parker at least has some good insight. Like his insight about this guy that did not play football until 2021, moved from Nigeria at the age of 13, and now is just about making every eye turn at the Combine, at the Senior Bowl. Of course, I'm talking about Max Iheanachor. Parker, this guy, it just continues to turn heads.
Yeah, Max Iheanachor he's been a massive piece for these Sun Devils. In his junior year, the year ASU went to the college football playoff, he had several injuries, only had 5 starts and 6 appearances. He was kind of a guy that I imagine to be more of a depth piece. Like, you see him on the depth chart and you're like, 6'6", 321, where is he on the field? Oh, he's hurt. That was kind of my assumption. But seeing him fully healthy, seeing him on the football field, starting all 14 games this past season, he really is just a mountain of a human being, a physical, dominant person, has some issues with penalties, and that's going to come when, as you said, he just started playing football a couple years ago. But what he does have is athleticism. According to the next-gen stats in the NFL, he has a 90 on the athleticism score. That's ranked 5th in all offensive tackles in this upcoming draft class. And it really shows with how he's just wowed everybody. And I expect Max Iheanachor to do really good in the NFL eventually, because as we said, he's new to the game. But if you have the time to coach this guy and get him to an NFL ready standpoint when it comes to like the intangibles, knowing the scheme, strategies, technique, he's going to be a monster. He's going to be an absolute monster, Phil.
I wish we could throw the footage up here, like right over this, but rights and whatever. If you get a chance, go pull up the footage of his 40-yard dash, because right now he's sitting, not just right now, overall, second place, 4.91 seconds on a 40-yard dash. Some guy hit a 4.90. Good for them. Pull up that footage and imagine yourself at the goal line, not the goal line, at the end of that run, 325 pounds, crossing 40 yards in less than 5 seconds. That is horrifying. Parker, that is the concept. I'm getting out of the way. I full respect to everyone on the defensive line, like everyone that's dealing with this in the NFL or college football, because that is insane levels of athleticism. I just I don't want to deal with that.
It's funny, Phil. You mentioned that, and I use Instagram Reels, and a feature on Instagram Reels is if you hold it down, you can go in 2 times speed. And I saw on Reels Max Iheanachor's 40-yard dash, and I thought that I had it on 2 times speed. I was like, oh, let me see this in real action. I was like, oh no, that's just how fast he is. I was so shocked because he just hit a second gear. It looked like I was holding it down in double X speed.
Yeah, the dude is, and, you know, I know we keep freaking out the 40-yard dash hitting here is just like narrowly behind Logan Jones out of Iowa. But his other stat, like he is across the board doing a great job. One exception, doesn't have the greatest vertical leap, but the man's 325 pounds, 6'6". That's a large body to get up off the ground. And realistically, if you're a defensive lineman, if you're a linebacker, having some vertical leap to get up there to swat a ball down, it's pretty important. Offensive lineman, you're playing a tackle position. Do you really need that? Is that the thing that is going to make or break your kit? Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I could imagine if you had to pick as an offensive lineman, if you had to pick one to be the worst at, it would be the vertical jump, just because 3-cone drill shows how quick you are to reaction time, your agility, 20-yard shuttle is important, bench press shows your strength, broad jump shows how much explosion you have, 10-yard, 40-yard dash, same thing with explosion, fast, quickness. But vertical jump is kind of the one where I'm like, do we really need to know that for offensive linemen?
Yes.
Sure.
Because it's fun to watch.
Sure, it's fun to watch. But, I mean, I want to know if in the history of ever there's been 2 prospects that a team has wanted to draft. And they're like, this guy jumped to 9.6, but this guy jumped to 9.7. It's a coin toss, but I guess we'll go with the broad jump numbers. So
it does beg the question, though. I know we talked about this when we were talking about Jordan Tyson. How much do these numbers impact your draft stock, right? Because like we all know that Diego Mendoza is going to go and get drafted number 1. We know Mendoza is going to get drafted number 1 overall, right? And I think I used his brother. Regardless, you know, we know Indiana quarterback. He's likely going to get drafted number 1 overall. They're like 3 wide receivers that are going to go in the first round. Question of which direction. I'm not sure that these combine numbers affect that first round or like the top half of the first round all that much. So then Parker begs the question, at what point does having a 4.91 versus a 4.90 start to impact your draft stock?
I don't think there's specifically that much of a difference when it comes to is this person better than this person because of these numbers. I think it affects your own stock in a way that, hey, let's face it, if we're looking at a wide receiver, we'll just name him John Smith, and he is known as a speedy wide receiver, and he gets a 4.91 in the 40-yard dash, then you start to be like, wait, hold up. He's just as fast as Max Iheanachor. I mean, and this other guy got a 4.35 in the 40-yard dash, but he's known as a physical wide receiver. Well, we wanted a speedster. This guy is faster than this other guy. I mean, it's more of a test of individual skill set, and that's how it can affect your draft. I don't think there's anybody being like, oh, it's between Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate. Well, which one's faster? We're going to go with that one. I think it's more so, oh, Jordan Tyson, he's supposed to be faster. He's supposed to be faster and stronger. Let's look at the numbers. So, he's fast and strong.
So you're telling me that at the end of the day, much has been made about vibe coding. You know, I want to make something. Let me, please, Claude, tell me what you want. It's just vibe drafting. You know, this guy, look at those numbers. He's fast and strong. Awesome. Where we're going to go. Please, ChatGPT, tell me who to draft. Except without the AI, whatever it is.
It's coming.
You know, I mean, I fully believe that teams are implementing every sort of advanced. I mean, they've been using advanced analytics for years, every tool to try to give them an advantage, to try to find someone that maybe they think can draft, that can fall down in the draft and still get, find the diamonds in the rough. Of course, it is, even with all these numbers, it is so hard to figure out who's going to succeed at the next level, who's not. I'd like to remind you, we talk about Tyson for just a second. N'Keal Harry was also set at 26 rep near record. And look what happened for his NFL career. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I do want to say though, I do want to say though, if I can have the floor, NFL GMs, all 32 of you, if you're watching, don't make the same mistake y'all made with Skateboo. Keith Abney, Max Iheanachor, Jordan Tyson, Keyshawn Elliott, they are all certified dogs. Don't make the same mistake that y'all made last year, because y'all, let's face it, every team passed on Cam Skateboo.
Hey, now,
every team passed on him.
Giants didn't make a mistake.
They did not.
They did
They
not.
did not. They did not. And he fits the culture. We all saw it. And he's going to be something if he stays healthy.
Oh,
so
speaking about the Giants, by the way, some draft projections I've seen, and that may change in the wake of the combine. But speaking of the Giants, that is where I've seen some people pointing at where Max Iheanachor might end up. So
and I think that would be it's a good scheme there. It's a good scheme.
I mean, I'd love to see Max opening up holes for Cam Skateboo. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Like the glory days.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like the glory days, Phil.
You know, what, Super Bowl, Peach Bowl, they're the same thing. You know, as exciting as this is, though, we do have a game coming up tonight, Parker. ASU versus Kansas. We're going to get to that, though, in just a second. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, which is always us, there's always action on the board. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your read. Go bold, go safe, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, and now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Also brought to you by Indeed Sponsored Jobs, because workplace chaos, if deadlines are stacking up, your inbox is overflowing, and that one position you have to fill is just sitting open, when the pressure's on and you need the right hire, that's a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people that actually fit what you're looking for, with skills, experience, the right location, so you're not just hoping for the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says everything. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours make 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data, and that's worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time scouting and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actively interviewing the candidates who check all your boxes. Less time, less stress, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners to this show right here, will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, Locked On Sun Devils. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And as we get started talking about this ASU Kansas game that's coming up very soon, I want to know what you have to think. ASU Kansas, what's going to happen? Does ASU have a shot? We're going to talk about it. We're going to give you our thoughts. But if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know in the comments down below, because I trust your opinion more than I trust my my own. So we're going to shoot it to Parker first. Parker, tell me about this ASU Kansas game.
Well, I have two schools of thought. I try to be as unbiased as I can. So let me go with my with my biased opinion first, if you will. ASU 4-0 all time at home against Kansas. I feel a little magic. Senior night, the series all time is tied at 6-6. This is the 13th meeting. I can't think of too many schools that have a record, have a tied or better record against Kansas all time, and they've played double digits in basketball. I mean, that's a pretty big accomplishment. So historically, the success is there. So why not keep it rolling? My little more realistic view on this game is that ASU, they need some magic. They need some magic. They got some rhythm against Utah, but as we talked about in our recap of the Utah game, that is the worst team in the Big 12. But they looked more efficient. they looked in more control of the game that we've ever seen in a single contest for ASU men's basketball. They only turned over the ball 5 times. If you only turn over the ball 5 times against Kansas, it's going to be a one possession game, because that's what Kansas does. They let other teams make mistakes.
All right, here's my question, because I know I said, yeah, tell me about ASU. Sure, fine. The big story about Kansas, as always, is Darryn Peterson. He's only played 19 games for them this year. In the games he's played, he's averaging not a lot of minutes, if you pull it up. And still, he's averaging more points than anyone. How much does this guy play? We've heard the stories, we've heard the rumors, because I think a game without Darryn Peterson, much more attainable than a game with Darryn Peterson.
Yeah, I think Darryn Peterson is an interesting prospect, and it's an interesting, we haven't seen anything like it. I mean, one of the top prospects in my mind in college basketball right now, and it's just a question mark on why he's not playing. There are some health concerns. Now it's just like, is it a chemistry concern? But then you look at the numbers. As you said, 19.7 points per game, almost 4 rebounds per game, and he's really efficient from the floor, 46.5. Now, as of late, he has had his struggles. I mean, a lot of people point, and by struggles, I mean people point to the contest that he had against Iowa State, where he only had 10 points, and then Houston only having 14, but those are still double-digit points. How about in Arizona? Yes, I know Kansas got the brakes beaten off of them by the team down south in Tucson, 84-61. But still, Peterson had 24 points. When he's on the floor, he can get the job done. He can light up the scoring column. My question is, how good is this Kansas team with Peterson? Because without Peterson, I think they've been more efficient, but at the same time, I don't think Peterson's holding them back. I just think it kind of messes with their flow, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think the answer is very simple. I think they're a much better team with Darryn Peterson than they are as a team without Darryn Peterson. And I don't think that's really too much in question. The better question is whether the curtain of distraction is going to be able to get him in his head and get him to sit down, get him to take himself out of the game, because we might have a shot. If Diop has a great game, if Odom continues his run, I keep saying this last couple games because he, for the first part of the year, was averaging a decent amount of free throws every game, and that has fallen off a cliff the last 2 or 3 games. If he can get himself to the line, if he can draw some fouls, I think, I think you're right. I think this can be competitive. But if Darryn Peterson plays 30 minutes, as he occasionally does, and he drops 24 on us on top of everything else, this does feel like it's going to be a really rough game for us tonight.
Yes, I mean, I'll be at the stadium, so it's going to be an interesting environment. I'm also interested to see how the environment is, because let's face it, we've all seen the games on TV. I've been to a couple games in person. The environment is either tepid or it's raucous. I mean, we saw it at the Texas Tech game. When it's a big game, and even tracing back a couple years ago when Bronny James came to Desert Financial Arena, there was a massive crowd there. I mean, that's the most impressive I've seen a crowd at DFA. And I know Bobby Hurley talked about it in a press conference earlier this season, where he's just like, the fans don't show up anymore.
Well,
and
yeah, that's kind of sad. So when I was at ASU, like 2015 to 2019, Bobby Hurley gets hired, I want to say 2016. And we're having these good runs. We have the team that's undefeated, number 3. If you've been to DFA, I don't know if it's like this now, but the top section of seats is kind of closed off with fake walls, because they just weren't filling enough seats. And at that time, they actually got rid of the walls. Like for the Oregon, halfway through the season, we go play Oregon. That stadium has an extra level to it that people don't necessarily, may not be aware of. It's kind of got some banners on it when it's all closed off. I'm with you. The stadium can get loud. I would love to see it happen again, but you got to start by winning these last 2 games, make a deep run, and have some base for next year.
Yeah, and I think it will happen. It just might not be this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think this Kansas game has the potential to be the biggest crowd. It would help more if it was on like a Friday, Saturday tilt, but senior day or senior night, since it's a night tip off. All these factors could be Bobby Hurley's last time in Tempe. All these storylines coming to a head. It's Kansas. There's the Peterson story that we talked about. They're a team that some people have projecting to go even all the way this year. Deep run in March. So a lot of people will come to this stadium. I know a lot of Kansas people will come to this stadium as well. I just hope there's more maroon and gold fans than Kansas fans, because let's face it, it's another thing with being an ASU fan is the Sun Devils, and whenever the Sun Devils have a home game, it's a tourism market. I mean, everybody wants to take a vacation down to Phoenix. I mean, it feels great around here for every single month out of the year except for June and July. So why not? So
Well,
I'm really interested to see the
I
stands.
might extend the bounds of when it's a little too hot for human consumption just a little bit, but yeah, I'm with you. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, keep turnovers low.
Yes.
Make sure Jop gets the ball. Make sure Odom actually gets to the line, and hope the curtain of distraction gets in Peterson's head so he stops playing. And then that's going to happen. But really, that's all the time we got for here today. It's a great combine. Hopefully, it's going to be a good game tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils. Tomorrow, well, I guess later tonight is when we're going to be recording. We're going to have a recap of the game. Parker's going to be in the stands. We're going to see, hopefully, a bunch of students celebrating on the court behind him. That'd be really cool. Plus whatever else we got in store. So make sure to go follow Locked On Sun Devils on whatever platform you're listening. We're on YouTube. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. So you get all the latest episodes. And if you never miss an episode, we've been talking about this a little bit, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Sun Devils ad-free, plus members-only Discord, and a lot more. Head to lockedonsundevils.supercast.com to join the club. And if you're watching this here on video, we're going to send you straight on over to the first 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel so you can find out what else is happening in the sporting world. And if you're on audio, make sure your second listen is to Locked On College Basketball. With the NCAA tournament coming up, they are doing a great job of getting you ready for it. But for us, for now, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning.